Hell is Real, Part 2, Outer Darkness. Another way that Jesus described hell was to speak about it as outer darkness. Outer as in O-U-T-E-R. And he spoke about it in that way in Matthew chapter 8 verse 12, Matthew chapter 22 verse 13, and Matthew chapter 25 verse 30. In the first description, he speaks about how those who are not of the Israelite religion or the Jewish religion, who would come together to form part of the kingdom of God, and saying that those from the east and the west would come into this feast that would be had around Abraham's table, and that those who are of the kingdom shall be cast into outer darkness, which was basically a revelation of how those who were outside the Jewish nation or the Gentiles would also be brought into God's glory. In the other description, he speaks about a wedding feast and the fact that somebody invited himself who was not invited, and that person was cast out and thrown into outer darkness. In the third description, he speaks in Matthew chapter 25 in many different parables. In the second parable, which leads to where he said somebody will be cast out into outer darkness, he speaks about talents that are given to different persons. 5 to 1, 2 to 1, and 1 to another. And the person who got the least talents decided to hide them. And he described that person as an unprofitable servant who would be cast out into outer darkness. The interesting thing about all of these descriptions is that he described it as a casting out. And also, he describes that there will be gnashing of teeth. Some descriptions also say weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth. So it's obvious that this place is a place of torment. It is a place where there is an obvious fighting or infighting amongst the persons who are there. There's obviously that the persons who are there are not in the best disposition, so to speak, and that they are relatively always fighting against themselves. So he calls it the place of weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth and outer darkness, and that those who are not of him will be cast out into it.